through Revolution Fitness. Thank you so much for joining us today on your Thursday for our episode of This or That Thursday.
Today we are going to be talking about 3 seemingly healthy foods that you might be eating because you think they're healthy for you. And then we're going to be talking about what's a better alternative to these seemingly healthy foods.
Yes, some are disguised as healthy. Lots of times they tell us they're healthy, but they're not. And the first one we're talking about are veggie chips.
Yes, so veggie chips are something that a lot of people think are healthy because they think that since it has the word vegetable in it, it must be packed full of nutrients and it must be made purely out of vegetables, which is often not even the case. A lot of times they're taking like regular potato starches and flours, and then they're using vegetable powders to create what looks like a vegetable chip, and because it has those veggie powders in it, it looks like it's these vegetables that it claims to be, but a lot of times it's not, and so they're actually not very good for you. And then other times, if you are getting like an all-natural veggie chip, they're usually like deep fried and dehydrated and like loaded with sodium and sometimes sugar and all sorts of preservatives to make them crunchy and have a shelf life. So they're really packed full of preservatives. They're really not that great for you. I mean, if you take a typical veggie chip, they actually have about 134 calories in a serving and 6 grams of fat. Whereas a regular potato chip has 154 calories and 10 grams of fat. So they're very similar in their macronutrient profile. There's really not a huge difference between a regular potato chip and a veggie chip. And not only that, potatoes are considered vegetables too, right? So you might as well eat those, right? So
right.
They're really not that great for you.
We have some great alternatives for you guys if you love those veggie chips, and one of them would be to just make your own. So when you make your own, you know that they're all natural and what's going into them. So if you slice up some sweet potato like really thin, they become crunchy when you stick them in the oven and roast them. You can also do that with zucchini or carrots. Those are great alternatives to those veggie chips. Also, we have some ideas such as almonds. If you eat those in moderation, those are a great crunchy snack. Or you could just snack on some popcorn.
Those are all really, really great options because they still provide you that crunch, and then you could add some salt or whatever flavorings that you like, and you'll still get the same bite, and they'll be a lot more healthy for you, a lot more nutrients and vitamins for your body. So try those out instead of the veggie chips.
And the next one we'd like to discuss today is dried fruit.
Yes, I mean, can you say candy with a little bit of added fiber? So what dried fruit usually is you have your fruit, and then they add a whole bunch of other sugar to that fruit, which is already very high in sugar, and then they dehydrate it, and they call it the dried fruit, which a lot of people think is a very healthy snack because it is fruit, which isn't always the case because, as you can imagine, it is packed with sugar. And because it's been dehydrated and dried out, the portion size has a lot of sugar in it because it is a lot smaller and you'll end up eating more. So if we're talking a 100-gram serving of raisins versus grapes, you're looking at 299 calories in raisins, 59 grams of sugar, and 79 grams of carbohydrates. In that same 100 grams of grapes, you're talking 67 calories, 17 grams of carbohydrates, and 16 grams of sugar. So as you can see, raisins, the dried fruit, is a lot more caloric and a lot more sugar per serving than grapes. So as you can see, dried fruit has a ton of sugar added to what's already very sweet. So not a very good choice.
So if we're talking alternatives here, like Christina's example, it would be best just to have that natural fruit, you know, as it comes instead of getting it dried because there's less sugar. And last but certainly not least are those misleading granola bars.
Yes, granola bars are probably one of the most misleading things on the market because when they are packaged, it says that they are full of protein, full of nutrients, and full of all of these really, really good ingredients that actually aren't that great for you. And if you really look closely at the label, it has a ton of sugar in it, a ton of preservatives, and ingredients that just aren't very good for your body. So they're just packed full of sugar. They often make claims that they're really high in protein, but they're really not. And they're just all around not very good for you. So anything that's packaged really in a box, I always try to stay away from. But granola bars, those are something that are very, very misleading. So take a Nature Valley granola bar, 2 of those crunchy bars that come in a package. They have about 190 calories in them, which isn't terrible for the granola bars, but they are packed full of sugar with 14 grams of sugar and 25 grams of carbohydrates. Really not that great. I mean, that's probably equivalent to about a candy bar or even more calories than a candy bar. So they're really just not that great. They really don't have very much protein in them, probably less than 5 grams of protein. All carbohydrates that are digested really fast. And then if you look at the nutrition label on those granola bars, they are just full of a whole bunch of preservatives that give them a shelf life. So not a good idea.
We have some great alternatives for those though, if you're a big granola fan. So just go to the grocery store and maybe look for ones that are less sugary, so at least less than 8 grams of sugar would be what we would recommend. And then also make sure that they're not the really highly processed ones. Those are the ones that we would recommend if you like granola bars. There's also some great alternatives such as Quest bars. Those are some of our favorites. We love Quest bars. And then even Kind bars are pretty good for you. So those are some ones that maybe you guys should try out instead of something like Nature Valley, something that's very sugary and not so good for you.
Yeah, just always make sure on any of our alternatives, make sure you read the label, because marketers are very, very good at creating misleading claims on the packages. So just always read the label. Look for things with like less than 8 or even less than 5 grams of sugar. If they're high in protein, make sure they have like more than 10 grams of protein or 15 grams of protein or so. Just read the labels on everything and look for things that are low in sugar, have less than like 5 to 10 ingredients or so.
Yeah, and the best alternative we have for you guys is to maybe do it yourself, so you know what goes into them. So on our YouTube channel, you guys can find some awesome Tasty Tuesdays that have granola bar options for you guys, so you should check that out and make those.
Yes, check them out. We really hope that you guys like our alternative to these 3 seemingly healthy food items that are probably in your kitchen. Toss those and get some of our alternatives, because your body will definitely thank you for that.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. We hope you guys tune in for tomorrow's Fit